You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm my friendship. Oh, how
You know what time it is. On brawl with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Yeah, you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. Covered in gray and scarlet, massive, stiff arms to your jaw. We breaking it. We sick of seeing you clowns with the crown. We taking it.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to Pops Pod, where we talk recruiting and all things football. I'm Devin. That's Duke. That's Daniel. We got a special guest for you tonight. BJ Womack, Brilan Womack's dad, the 5-star number one safety in the country. Hopefully soon to be in a Ohio State commit, but maybe we'll find out some more information about that tonight or have to wait until the end of it. But here we are. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good, man.
Great, man. Doing great.
Good.
BJ, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed.
Great to have
How
you,
you
man.
guys doing? How you guys doing?
Good, man.
Good.
I can't complain. It's Friday.
Doing good.
Yeah, I
So
know.
tell everybody what you're currently doing right now.
Man, we're actually on the road headed up to Columbus. We just left Lexington, Kentucky. Watching my daughter and them there in a weekend series against Kentucky.
Oh,
Good,
like
good.
softball?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we're
Okay.
on the road this weekend.
Man,
Yeah.
so that's real interesting, man, that you kind of talked about that. And so what we want to do here, man, just real quick, if you don't mind, Pop Spot, we're talking a lot of, ball, right? And for the last few weeks, it's been a lot of football. And so, one thing I think is really, really, really interesting about your family, man, not to mention, what Brilan is doing, but you guys got experience in recruiting in other sports, right? And most
Yeah.
importantly, man, I think this is something that, I really wanted to touch on here, on the Pop Spot, because I know myself, Duke, we're fathers, but we're also fathers to young ladies, girls.
Right.
And so I think that's something that I personally wanted to kind of touch on, man. And that's kind of where I kind of want to start tonight, man, with you, if you don't mind, man. I know we're throwing you a little curveball with this thing,
Oh,
man.
no. Come on with it.
Yeah, man, but it's all a part of it, man. So I think, it's all relative. So I mean, I want to start off with that, man, and just kind of talk about your daughter a little bit, man. Not I don't want to say her name wrong. So if you don't
Manaya.
mind, say it again.
Manaya Womack.
Manaya. Okay, I was gonna say Mania, but okay. So Manaya Womack, right? And so let's kind of give people a little bit of information about her, man. What we're talking about here is in her time in the class of 23. She was a top 100 player from Softball America. She was another publication had her as high as the 18th ranked player in her class. All-stater, 5-time all-district player, independent Mississippi, state champ in 18 and 21. Also the player of the year, if I'm not mistaken, in one of those years. So I mean, over man, I thought this was great, man. Career batting average over 400, big time player, man. And so I just kind of wanted to start with that, man, and just kind of in your experience, man, how does that differ? Recruiting, from the dad standpoint of a daughter.
Really, it's not so much different for us. I mean, we're also trying to look at things the same way with Braylon, like we did with her. Who's going to look out for that young lady? And who's going to really take that young lady in and look out and do what's best for her? Help her out at ball as well in life.
Right.
So those were some things that we really touched on. But for the most part, with her decision, listen, I'm gonna let you guys know. Like I tell both of my kids, the decision is yours. But one thing I will not allow you to do is pick up the phone and tell me, "Hey, I'm ready to commit," and then a week or two later, I'm decommitting. No,
Right.
we're not doing that.
Yeah, I
So when you
appreciate that.
commit, when you commit, I feel like when I commit, I committed to my wife, just like you guys. You committed to your wife. You wasn't still out dating. And
No.
that's what I told Don and Mello last week. Like, we don't believe in that.
Yeah.
So when you're committed to something, you're moving
Exactly.
forward with it. And
Right.
so with her, I never forget, like we went on a visit. She felt like it was just a spot for her.
Hmm.
And I remember telling her, I said, hey, you need to go through the recruiting process. You need to let everybody show you what they can do for you. She's like, nah, this is what I want to do. And she committed to Ole Miss. So she went to Ole Miss for a year. And I told her, I said, look, you're going. Because the coaches that recruited her, they left 2 weeks before it was time to report.
Oh
And
wow.
I said, hey, you're going. You're going there for a year. And
Yeah.
so she went for a year. And then she hopped in the portal right after that, which we didn't want to do that, but it was just unfortunate situation. And man, she feel like she done found home.
So what were the coaches that left? Were they the primary recruiters?
Yes, yes, they were
Dang.
the primary recruiter. The head coach really didn't have much, and that's the thing I'm paying close attention to right now with
Yeah.
Brilan. The head coach really didn't have much to do with the situation,
Yeah.
not with recruiting.
Yeah.
And so
Mm.
that's big for us. We want to know exactly how everybody feels
Right.
because we felt like when she went into her situation, this lady didn't give her a chance because she didn't recruit her.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
Yeah.
You
everybody that
still
was
ain't get, you
there,
still wouldn't let her allow her to get out of that?
well,
I
no,
would think that would that
because
was the only that would be the only out
no,
is if
because I
something like that
mean,
occurred.
she chose the school at that point.
Uh,
I mean, when you sign that national letter of intent, like you're going there for a year, from my standpoint.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if Braylon signed with Ohio State, Ryan Day can leave tomorrow.
Mhm.
He's going to Ohio State for a year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
would
believe
respect
in
that.
being a man about everything you do. Like if I say something, you best believe. Guess what? You can go bank on it because it's gonna happen. And that's what I
Right.
teach my kids. Like be able to stand on your word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah. Yeah. So what you kind of touched on was really the reason why I kind of wanted to kind of start off with talk with your daughter. You guys have been through that P word. And that's one thing that really caught my attention, as I'm kind of doing a little bit of, research about you and your family is, your daughter has been in the portal. She's originally signed with Ole Miss, like you said, and I think currently right now she's at Auburn right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So
Correct.
again, without giving too much information, if you can, just kind of talk about that situation. How did that go? Making that decision to jump in the portal, and how did you guys navigate that as a family?
Uh, like like I always tell them, like these are your decisions. She decided to jump in the portal, and man, we was like, man, we don't know what's gonna happen. And
Mm.
at that point, as a father, I just told her, like, man, just go to school. If that's what you want to do, just enjoy life. Go to school. You don't have to let it be about ball. And she was just had the itch for ball because she'd been playing. She was 5 years old,
Mhm.
and so she got a couple phone calls. And man, I'm gonna tell you, it seemed like within a week or two, it was crazy for her and my wife. They was here, there, back home on a plane, going here, and I was like, man, this is getting crazy. And so it was recruiting all over again. And she finally said it came down to two schools, and she finally chose Auburn. And when
Mhm.
she chose Auburn, I mean, she was there with that crew, Kate and Chris Malvo. I think they was at Tennessee. So they gave her a shot, man. And right now, like they're showing me as a father, they're showing me everything they told me was gonna happen. They was gonna give
Yeah.
her opportunities. And
Yeah.
so
It's like
right now,
doing
I mean,
so.
when we go over and visit, she told us, she said, y'all can get rid of my room because I ain't never coming home. I found home.
No,
So
that's awesome.
that was important to me.
So what was the deciding factor
The
on
deciding factor was
yeah,
uh, for her just having that opportunity,
right. Okay.
and for me as a father, like seeing the fact that they had younger kids that was going to be around the program, I knew that they had to treat those young ladies like the ladies they should be treated like.
Mm.
You go to some of these programs for young women, and some of these programs just not right for them. I'm just gonna be honest,
Yeah.
you know. But we prayed about it. We prayed about it, and just one morning she came in there and said, "Hey, I'm going to Auburn." It's like, whoa.
Okay. Hey.
What's the communication been like with your daughter since she's kind of been in that role now? Since she's kind of stepped away from home, she's been gone for a couple of years now. What's the communication like between yourself and your daughter? As far as family's going, has it been
Oh
something that
man.
is a positive thing, or you know what I mean? How's that going?
I mean, it's been great. It's been a positive thing. I mean, she's becoming a young lady.
Mhm.
She's becoming a young lady. Every chance we get, we're not on the road with Brilan. We shoot over to Auburn. If they got a homes here, we sit there and watch them play and visit with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. How far is it? How far is it from home? Auburn.
It's about 4.5.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad, John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that experience you got with your daughter and her recruitment like give you knowledge and something that you're actually using in the process with Braylon right now?
I would say no, because I think every situation is different. And
Yeah.
then with this recruiting process, to be honest with you, I'm just enjoying the ride, guys. I'm enjoying the ride. So many people can look at Braylon and tell he's very mature for his age.
Mm.
Braylon's making these decisions. I'm just being honest. Like, it's been times where I'm like, Braylon, why don't you do, Dad, I think we should do this. And then when we do it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. So
Yeah.
a lot of this stuff, man, with the recruiting process with Braylon, he's doing this. Like, and
Mm.
I just tell him as a father, like, I'm gonna stand behind you. I'm gonna always support you.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
So
always
with
support you.
so what is you and your wife's role in the recruiting? From the standpoint of like, yeah, he's mature for his age, yes, and but it's still, he's still a minor, still a big, a big decision, in versus a adult decision versus a kid's decision, a decision, different things go into that. So like, how are you kind of like guiding him along, along those things, making them know like, all right, this is make sure you know these things or understand these things or see these things, as opposed to, this is where, I'm making an emotional decision.
Well, for the most part, I mean, as a family, we're always making a decision together. Well,
Okay.
we sit down together.
Uh-huh.
Whenever something comes out, 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be Brightland's decision.
Mhm.
He's gonna come to us first, and if we don't approve of it, nah, nah.
Okay.
So we're kind of guiding a little bit, but not so much. If Brightland come
Right.
to me, like he come to me and say, "Hey, I want to take the unofficial to Ohio State. I want to go to the practice just to see what it's like."
Uh-huh.
Then I'm going to do what I got to do as a parent to make that happen.
Right.
If he come to me and say, "Well, this guy called me and said this," so I don't think we should do that.
Hmm.
How do you feel about it? And so me and my wife will discuss it, and then we come up with a plan. But we're just not we're just not trying to make this decision for Brighton.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because
You
he's
know
the
what I'm
one that
saying?
ultimately is going to have to be wherever he
He,
goes.
he got to live with this decision for the next 3 to 4 years
Right.
because I wish they I wish they'd do away with that portal. That's just me. I wish they'd
What's it
do,
right?
or either
Yeah.
just put some stipulations on it.
Right. Yes. 100%. 100%. I feel like kind of like to what you're saying, like my viewpoint on it is uh the portal shouldn't be available until like at least 2 years after you've been there, right?
Right.
Then because at that point you've gone through different things, you've worked through things, adversity that you can't run away from, that you have to be a man. You have to and go through that. And yeah, there's different situations where you are okay. Yeah,
Right.
we're not gonna deal with that. But personalities, competition, and things like that. That you have to work through that. You have to go through that, and that's
Yes,
gonna make you a better man at the end of the day.
exactly. Because like I tell Braylon all the time, like your mindset should be going in. to be a day one starter, but that may not be the coach's look on you. You know, they may be like, we're gonna take this year to develop this kid.
Mm-hmm.
But then they may look at you as you're gonna be the guy year two. So if that's the case, be able to sit down with them and have that conversation. Like a
Right.
lot of these guys today feel like they should just go in and if they're not starting game one, day one, then
Yeah.
it's time to hit the portal. No, man, you don't know what the development plan is.
Right. And it's just not, I don't think that's a realistic, like in these days and times, right? You know, as some of these, that's not a realistic, you know, way to approach things, right? And like you mentioned earlier, you just want an opportunity,
Right.
right? And that's all I want you to guarantee me is an opportunity, and the rest, you know, it's up to you and your ability and what you bring to that team, right? And because you're a 5-star kid, um, and the school that is, you know, that you committed to, they have other guys with similar mindsets. So it's going to be a battle day in and day out. But you know, that self-belief is what's going to carry you, you know, at the end of the day. And you're gonna find your role. Your role is going to your role is going to develop as you develop.
Right.
Talk about some of the things
100%.
that you guys have done as a family to kind of prepare, you know, for getting developed as you kind of go through high school and you're getting ready to make this transition up into the bigger step, moving into college.
Some of the biggest things like film study, who you train with, how do you take care of your body.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of the biggest thing I look at with my son is, hey, when I'm getting up to go to work in the morning at 5 o'clock, this kid is getting up. He's either going to work out with his
That's
personal
it.
trainer or
That's it.
he's going to get with his DC. And I'm like, son, why you going to school so early? He's like, Dad, if it's game week, he's like, we got to go over some stuff and we got to see what we're going to cut out or what we're going to add to the scheme this week.
That's
And it's
awesome.
just him and the DC. And
That's
so
awesome.
what people don't understand are like this kid, to me, and I know there's a lot of kids out here, 5-star, but knowledge of the game, IQ of the game, he's so far ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Because when a defensive coordinator can say, hey, listen, if we're going to go fast this week, Brilan Womack, you're the quarterback on defense. You're going to make the 2 calls. You're going to have 2 calls and you're going to make 1, and we're going to roll with it. And so that's just how our defense runs is through him. He's the quarterback of our defense.
Yeah.
And for that kid to really just listen to some guys he got in his corner to help him out to understand schemes and coverages, man, it's been amazing. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, it's been amazing. Like a lot of people don't know, he goes out to Arizona. He's in New Orleans. He's in Miami. He's training with, you know, his trainer. Denzel Burke's there. Ben Morrison. Of course, y'all probably know who that is, but he's also with DeMario Davis, that's his mentor. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they sit down, they talk ball all the time. So I feel like that right there, and as a whole, has really helped him.
Yeah.
But what you just brought up, man, is a huge point. I've been through this myself personally with my son Devin, and I hear you kind of intimate that, man. So when you're talking about the outside mentorship, being able to recognize that there's another gentleman, another man out there who may be able to get things across to your son in a way that you may not, or in a way that may be a little stale, coming from dad. Talk about how you come about making that decision in finding somebody who's really a mirror, an echo, a sounding board for what really what we're preaching at home. But the message might be getting a little gray. You know what I mean?
For the most part, Daniel, I'm gonna be honest with you, I pray about it. And my biggest thing with prayer there is just like with everything else, I tell my kids, hey, just pray to God weave out the negative weeds. He weave out those people that are not for you, that are not beneficial to you. And
Right.
so when DeMario Davis came along, man, there was a lot of people that were just trying to pull it, brother. And it was like something just clicked in me one day. And it had to be nobody but God. It was like, how can LeBron teach your son how to get to the NFL? How can he help develop your son get to the NFL?
Hmm.
And I was like, I don't think he can. I said, but he can help my son get to the NBA. So DeMario Davis has played in the league 13 years, all
Right.
pro. He know what it takes. He know what it looked like. And I
Right.
never forget the first conversation we had. He told me out of his own mouth, he said, man, you got to start treating your son like he's an NFL kid. And I was
Hmm.
like, I can't. And he said, you have to.
You have
He
to.
said, because what you're about to experience over the next 3 to 4 years, it's gonna be life changing for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he told me that, man, I'm telling you, it was like, you know what? I'm gonna trust this man with my son. Because who come on now, we're talking about a 13-year veteran in the NFL. A lot of guys don't play that many years. They don't even play half that. He
Right.
know what it takes. So he's really helped Braylon with, hey, how to take care of your body. Stuff like that. And it
Mhm.
was just God sent. That man was God sent to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling y'all, he was God sent.
Yeah.
And then you find somebody like Will Sullivan. I think most of y'all guys know who Sully is. You know, Sully asked me, can I work with Brilan? I was in just to know who he is and who he's had his hands on, who he's trained before.
I just
So
for the audience, just tell them who Will Sullivan is.
Will Sullivan, he's out of Arizona, DBU. Man, he's part of the reason why Darrell Revis was Darrell Revis. He had the McCourty twin. He's got a lot of guys in the NFL he worked with.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, anytime that guy called me, except for this one time, but anytime he called me and say, "Hey, I'm doing an event," oh, we finna try to make it happen. Like Braylon got to get there
Yeah.
because that's the guy I trust him with.
Yeah. That's a yeah. I mean, and that's a great point, man. Just it's who's in your village, who's in your circle, who's pouring into your kids. You want to make sure you're surrounding with guys that think like you
Yeah.
and are
Because
where
I will
your
say
kids aspiring
this,
to be.
yes, but I will say this: there's so many people out here today that's trying to gain from the kids.
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
so many people trying to gain from the kids.
Yeah.
Man, we asked the man, come on a visit with Brilan. Man, they want to take the back seat. They don't even want nobody to know. They
Right.
just like, man, Braylon gonna do what Braylon do. I'm just happy I can help him. And I'm
Right.
like, man, but we just want to give back to those people. But there are
Yeah.
some people that's like, they want to
Leeches.
be the ones on the visit. Your son can't,
Mhm.
the parents can't go with the son. I'm like, dog, who are you?
Right.
So that's why man, y'all gotta be careful with these people. Know who you're
Right.
dealing with.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good word, man. That's my
Agreed.
next question. I'm going to kind of
And
get
don't
to
try
you.
to persuade.
Yeah. No, that's my next question, man. As a family, what are you guys doing to protect yourselves from just from what it is? Predators out there looking to latch on, and get into that pocket, man, to just to be able to grab onto to that young man. And let's be honest, we know what it is. They're latching on to drive that wedge to separate.
Mhm.
And again, how do you guys navigate that as a family? What do you guys what are give some of the signs out there that you guys have noticed that in your time of doing this, and what are you doing to combat that?
Man, God's gonna text your son. God's gonna text your son talking about what they can do for you,
Yep.
how far they can take you, this and that. I just told my son, I said, listen, what God got for you, can't no man take away. I can't stop it. Even me being your father, I can't stop it. So the signs are, you're gonna have people texting, you're gonna have people calling, talking about what they can do. And I can tell y'all that my son has really gained everything he's gotten because we've had so many people who bad mouthed him. We had so many people who tried to hurt him, who tried to tarnish him. I
Mhm.
mean, at the end of the day, we didn't fight about it. We didn't hook holler. There for about 48 hours, I'm not gonna lie, we was kind of hurt as a family. But I set my family down. I said, hey, listen, today, we stop worrying about it. They want to hurt the rankings, let them hurt the rank. We're going to move forward and handle what we can handle. We can't worry
Exactly.
about what people say, what people do. We're going to do what we have to do. We're going to trust in God. And man, I'm telling y'all, I didn't sleep for 2 days. But after that, man, I slept like a baby. And it seemed like a burden was lifted off me. I gave it to God. And then everybody see what's going on right now. I'm telling you, that's just a testament of just giving it to God.
Yeah.
That's great stuff, man.
Amen.
100%.
I got a question that can kind of all of you guys can hit on, but in today's recruiting, I mean, from the sounds of it, BJ, you and your son and your family, they're kind of at the next level of the recruitment where you guys have the end goal in mind, and that end goal is the same end goal from all the parents on this show, and that's creating a successful young man, as a young man himself, and also in the NFL. And you guys brought up earlier the competition, right? That Ohio State and other schools bring to the table as well. But as parents of big time recruits, you have certain players that want to get on the field fast, or they have the end goal in mind, that NFL type of player. But to get to that NFL type of player, you got to go up against that competition, right? You got to learn how to handle that. If you're coming into a school and you're stepping on as a freshman, you got to ask yourself, right, have you experienced that competition yet, that NFL type of competition, to know you can play at that level? So, being parents of high-end recruits, how much does that affect you guys? I mean, I know ultimately it's your kid's decision, but as parents, do you guys want your kids going to schools where they know they're going to have to fight their way up the rankings, or the class that they're being signed in, there's other big time recruits that are being signed in that class as well? Is that something you guys want for your kids? You want them to be surrounded by those other high recruits that are in their class or out of their class? Is that something you guys are looking for as parents, or is that very high on your board?
I would say for us, absolutely. I mean, spoke about it, in previous show. Riley has always been, a younger guy, so he's always been chasing, older kids. So it's kind of natural, but in order to, be the best, you have to beat the best. So that was one of the things that we were looking for, mostly like in the school. All right, where can we go in and compete, and who's going to allow us to do that, right? Not we really want you here, you're going to be starting here like day one. I didn't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that like at all. He wanted to be able to measure himself up against the best. And Ohio State was, had checked all those boxes, on top of, having a plan for him, and, articulating what's available, based on your ability, and how we will develop you to take you to that next level. Checked all those boxes, and, he ran to that as opposed to away from it. He didn't care who was signing here. We didn't care, about rankings or any of that. We're coming here, and like I said, he was looking at not his class, but the kids who are at the position he's playing now, right? Mm-hmm. So if I don't beat him, I'm gonna learn from him, So it was a win-win.
Yeah, I'm gonna just kind of jump in and say, really simple on our end. We over here in this house, we believe ballers got to be around ballers, and that's the kind of guys that we need around us. We need those competitive guys around us. We need those guys around us that want the same things, that want to go to the same places, that want to do the same things. And I think that's indicative of how you guys saw us recruiting once we committed. We didn't shy away. We recruited the Naeem offers. We wanted him here. We recruited those guys. We wanted Dorian Brew here. You know, if it's up to those guys to move on and they don't think that room's right for them, they don't want to be in it, that's up to them. You know, but we want those guys around. We want those guys next to us. We want those guys to push us. So I mean, you know, that's what we believe over here. And you know, man, I'm gonna kind of jump in before we give this to BJ and just kind of shamelessly plug that, man. I hope he understands that, you know, that's the situation that this class of 26 is in right now. Man, I know he's been paying attention to the boards and seeing what they've been pulling in the last couple of days, man. And you know, and seeing what's going on, how these guys are gravitating to this class. You know, we know some of the reasons why. You know, there's a great staff in there, man, who's really, you know, locked in with this group of kids. They care about these kids. They care about what they're doing is, you know, ball players and moving on to be men. And I hope you guys can see that, man. And I want to go ahead and just kind of push that back at you, BJ, and just kind of, you know, what do you guys believe? Where are you guys at with that?
Man, for us, I tell my kids, hey, surround yourself with like-minded people. So if you're trying to make it somewhere in life, surround yourself with the like-minded people. So, man, I remember when Blaine committed the other day and my phone was blowing up. Daniel, you and I talked. What I
Yep.
tell you, man, people hitting me up. We will be at the shoe. That don't mean nothing. Cause guess what? Ohio State just had 2 All-American safety, not 1, 2. You think Caleb Downs said, "Hey, I'm not going to Ohio State because they got Latham Ransom"? No, we're gonna go there and do what we got to do. And so I like the fact that, you know, Blaine did reach out to Brilan, and I appreciate that kid for that. But no, hey, again, I tell y'all, man, this gonna be Braylon's decision. But I tell him, man, you gotta go where you're gonna be developed to get to the next level.
Right.
Don't go where they just rolling out the red carpet and making you feel good. Go where you're gonna get developed.
Yeah.
So, you know, after this visit up at Ohio State, we'll sit down as a family, talk about it during the week before we hit the road again. But I mean, you know, hey, we'll talk about it. Talk about it all the way home.
The room is important, man. The room is important. I always say, man, if you're the only guy in the room, man, that room's gonna be lonely, man.
Yeah.
What they say, you don't want to be if you're the smartest one in the room, you need to go to another room.
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 Yeah, so that's the biggest thing with him, with this recruiting thing for me. I just keep telling, man, surround yourself, because you don't want to be in a situation where they want you to be here one play and go play corner the next play. Go play your position. Be the man at your position. Let somebody else worry about their position. Know that you got another kid over there that's going to do the same thing you're capable of doing.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing, man.
Yeah, man. Look, you know, let's kind of move on a little bit, man. You know, we're talking kind of real hard, man. You know, these are tough subjects, man. Especially, you know, when it comes to dads. You know, these are some of the things that we got to deal with, man. You know, we got to have real conversations with our sons, our daughters. You know, man. I mean, you know, and these things, you know, man, they can weigh really heavy on you, man. So I mean, you know, I kind of want to lighten it up a little bit, man, and just kind of change pace a little bit. Man, give us some of your favorites, man. You know, talk about some of your favorite stories. So, you know, so far in recruiting, man, some of the things that, you know, been, you know, good memories in your mind as you know, in this short time of recruiting that you got.
Man, all the time we just hopped in a vehicle, me, my brother, and my son, and just it seemed like we went on a world tour. You know, we drove to South Bend.
Oh wow.
But
We drove in. I was like, it just didn't look too good, and so we drove up to Ohio State 2 days after that. So we drove up to Ohio State 2 days after that, camped there, had a great time. You know, we drove back and flew out to OT7 in Tampa. And that's when I really met Mr. Sanchez.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this whole recruiting thing, man, getting to meet some great people. one thing I tell my son, like my biggest thing with the recruitment in the beginning was we're gonna make sure all of your offers are authenticated. When I say authenticated, hey, when you get that offer, be able to go. Let's go have a conversation with that head coach. Because if we
Mhm.
can't have a conversation with the head man, and he can tell us we got a committable offer,
Yeah.
that means nothing to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's been some of the biggest memories for me, man. Just ah, recruiting has been great, man.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys as parents, all of you, BJ, you can hit on this first, but being on this show and hearing everything that parents have to go through, it's enlightened the fans. It has enlightened me on really all the details that go into it. Because as a fan, you get to sit back and it's just like it's a simple decision. Just make the decision. Nah, man, camps, training, 5 a.m, money, traveling, the whole 9 yards. Is there a time? It's your kid's decision, but obviously the parent has to manage this and the travel and the money and the time and the whole 9 yards. Is there a point in time in the recruitment where like you feel like you have to step in and say, hey man, we're doing too much here? Or is this an important enough decision to where you just let all these things happen because of how important this decision is?
Uh, One thing I told Brilan early is, hey, we're gonna make sure you have control of your recruitment. We're
Mm-hmm.
not gonna when we start narrowing it down, we're not gonna still have come signing day or the day before signing day. We're not gonna have 30 teams, 30 schools calling us. We're not doing that. So with Braylon, it's been, hey, we've been focused on 4 schools. Those 4 schools gonna get cut real soon. We're just going through the phase because I tell him, listen, I don't have a lot of money, son. I'm just doing what I gotta do for you. And so I don't want to waste anybody else's time as well as my time. I don't want to waste anybody else's money as well as my money. I'm a
Right.
straightforward guy. Tell him, hey, listen, if you feel like going to Texas next weekend, why? You got an offer, but you're not interested. They just
Yeah.
want you there. Like
Yeah.
that's not beneficial to us. That's not taking us forward. We're going backwards because we're adding a team and then we're letting them come in and start recruiting all over again.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna deal with the 4 teams. Guess what? If it's not Texas A&M, Ohio State, Florida, Auburn, we don't want to talk to them because we're going forward. We're trying to get to team number 1. So that's been my thing with Braylon, man. He knows how important this is. He may somebody may tell me, hey, LSU want to see y'all tomorrow.
Good.
That's wasting my time. My time is very valuable.
Yeah.
I got a dog I got to go support when I'm not with Braylon. And I can job.
That's a great point. And it's interesting. It's funny you say that because I got 2 nephews now that are being recruited. They're not heavily recruited. They moved down here from Boston, played with Riley last year, and but could be dudes. Would be further along if they lived here longer. But so they're getting looks, getting they got a couple offers here and there. But now schools are hit them up like, hey, we want you to come to this camp. We want you to come to this camp. And all them camps are around the same time. And, they get one from a big school, like, oh, I want you to, like, I'll say, like now, Tennessee just text my nephew, like, yeah, we want you to, my younger nephew, the 27. And he was like, oh, should I go there? I'm like, yo, that's cool that, they want you to come to their camp. And, I get why. But we have all these schools here in Texas. Why would you, put that expense on your mom, me, just for them to come see you? And they can come see you, if they're really interested, they'll come see you during spring ball, right? If that's what they if that's what they want to see, because a lot of them say that, so like with my 2026 kid nephew, he's in a different situation. It's more urgent for him. He has like 1 more year. They haven't seen him. They doesn't have a lot of film on him. So I get, all right, yeah, if you want to go somewhere, we need to vet them, and they have to be within, you know, our budgetary, fly or drive range, right? Because that junk adds up. It adds up, man. So you really have to be strategic in, where, I mean, and again, there's levels, right? There's levels. So if you don't have that, cachet, to be like, nah, I don't want. You have to go to, you may have to, go places where, you necessarily don't want to, but all right, they need to see him. He likes his school, so so let's go there. So you really have to be strategic in what you're doing and where you're going. You can't just go everywhere because, oh yeah, it's this school or that school. Like, nah, especially if you're definitely not going to go there.
BJ, how far a drive you got, man? How long you been in the car?
Man, we just left Lexington at about 6:30. So we're 6:37. No, it's about 6:30. So we're scheduled to be in Columbus. We'll be at the Woody Hayes at exactly 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how long it is. We got about an hour and 15 minutes more.
Yeah, y'all doing pretty good.
Yeah.
You guys excited to get back down there?
Always. I know I
Yeah.
am. Probably finna go out tonight. I'm going downtown. I'm gonna let them go to the room.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
The
So, hey,
downtown's nice, man.
we got a question
Yeah.
in the chat, man, from somebody that's like a a hot item, in some of these podcast worlds. And so it's a great question from Mika, where she's asking, has recruiting kind of changed the way you see the game now?
It has. It has. Recruiting has changed the way I see the game. Um, from a standpoint, I mean, you really got to show these people what you're capable of doing on the field every night.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been some things kind of been pointed out to me, like, hey, this is good, but hey, you really need to focus on this. And so we're going back to the drawing board. And, okay, we're gonna focus on that. We're gonna focus on that. We're trying to be a complete player. But yeah, it definitely has. I see a lot of people though, but one thing people got to understand: don't get caught up into certain things like the 7-on-7 and stuff like that. Like it's good for offensive players, but defensive players, you need to really be careful how you go about doing it. And that's one thing I've learned in this recruiting thing, and I learned that from somebody that I really, really talk to daily. You don't want to get caught up in that. Like be precise with how you move.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? It's been a top like Devin. Man, you didn't see Devin going out there playing 7-on-7 every single weekend. Like you
Yeah.
gotta be precise. Do stuff that's gonna be beneficial to you. Like if it's
Right.
not beneficial and you're a top player, man, don't be out there doing that. You
Yeah.
risking injury. Not only that, and you're gonna have a guy that's trying to get his stripes off of you. So
Yeah.
he coming at you, and then by far you the number one corner in Texas or the number one corner in the country. Now you got a whole line of people that want to go, a whole line of receivers that want to go up against you, and they ain't gonna
Mm-hmm.
cut that smoke from you. Ain't
Nope.
nobody out there gonna cut that smoke. They're gonna say, Devin, you that man. So you gotta really be precise with strategic. You gotta really be strategic with how you move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because if not, man, them cats will have you lined up all weekend.
yeah. What is Brilan currently doing right now? Is he in 7-on-7 circuit? Is he running track? What's he doing currently?
Man, he's doing track, but man, that's 7-on-7. We have a lot of people reached out, want us to play, but he just can't fit it into the schedule. I mean,
Yeah.
they got an OT7 this weekend, but what's more important? I gotta
Yeah.
get to Columbus, and we gotta see how practice gonna go. See
Right.
how the coaches respond to the team. See how the player respond to the coaches.
Right.
And then sit down and talk about, what's the development piece for Brilan.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the main factors for me. That 7-on-7 stuff, we'll get to that when we decide our school.
that you brought that up, man. You know, you're asking what's the development piece in you guys' eyes. You know what I mean? What is the development piece that you guys are actually looking for? What is it?
Oh, man, somebody that's going to, man, when you look at it, I mean, let's be honest. If you're a safety, you dream of playing in that Buckeye defense. I mean, we said and we watched, well, they put 6 DBs on the field at one time. And so with Brilan, that's one thing we really worked on over the last 2 years. How can you find a way to be on the field real fast? How? Go out and play corner as a safety. Go out and play some corner, play some nickel, showcase your safety skill. So therefore, you can be a versatile safety. And so with the development piece, I mean, hey, I know guys got to come in and work their butts off, but as a coaching staff, hey, where do y'all see this guy in the next 2 to 3 years? I ain't looking at next year. I'm looking at the next 2 to 3 years because after those 2 or 3 years, then he gets a chance at the NFL draft.
Right.
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 Man, no better place to say, man. I'm gonna shameless plug this again, man. No better place to play in the country than in this 3 safety system, man. You know it. I mean, you know, you look at the guys who've been in it for the last couple of years, man. Toolbox is incredible. I mean, you know, again, man, you know, all 3 phases of the game, you know, coverage, tackling, you know, leadership ability, man. It's DBU, man.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
it's like
Yes, sir.
I mean, you know, again, man, you know, just you know, man, we're not trying to apply any kind of pressure in here, but I mean, you know, if we squeeze in the coal and making it a diamond, you know, it just is what it is, man. I mean, you know, we'd love to have that alert this weekend, that big boom drop on us this weekend, man, and you know, kind of finish this thing up, man, and you know, talk about this 26 class, man, and get ready to kind of move on to do some other things, man, and pull in some other guys, man. But you know, again, you know, man, I applaud what you guys are doing. You know, obviously I keep up with it, you know, especially considering that, you know, this is going to be one of the partners in crime that we, you know, we're talking about when we're talking about back end play. So I mean, you know, I see the versatility in him. You know, I know what he's doing. You know, man, I love what he's doing, you know, and, you know, man, I'm going to be just perfectly honest, man, and say, man, I'd love for you guys to be Buckeyes, you know, and keep on into this class, man, and continue this thing to roll.
Man, just based on, you know,
Yeah.
this conversation right here, man, and like everything's in alignment, man. You sound like when I first, you know, chopped it up with Devin, and you know, I mean, we we finish each other's sentences, you know, because everything that, you know, all the values that we have in, you know, our family, and it seems to be a common thread against, you know, all families here at Ohio State Parents. It's all been in alignment, and you sound just like us. I mean, and I'm not, you know, blowing smoke over you behind. I mean, like, right, real talk. And it seems like a natural fit. You know, it's not forced. It's not, you know, overly, you know, salesy. Like, what you're looking for is what they have, and it's the real deal. And you know, just like you're going to do watch this practice. I was just up there last weekend, man, and I'm just like, dang. A year ago, I was, you know, I was these recruits' parents, right? You know, like wondering if this is the place, and it's still, the consistency is still there. Everything that we saw last year, I saw when I was, you know, now that my son is in it, and you know, it just made me even more excited, right? To see where he's going to be in, you know, in 2 years. So, you know, I say that all to say that, man, I would love for you to be a part of this family, man. It's a great place to be, man.
You know, something from my view, sitting here, right, as an Ohio State fan, I don't proclaim to be a a coach or experience and watching film or recruits or anything. I'm just a fan, man, an obsessed fan with Ohio State. And what I've found, I've talked to a lot of recruits, man. A lot of recruits that are committed, not committed. But dude, there's a theme, man. These high-end recruits, the Rileys, the Devons, the Bralans, man, but behind those players are parents like yourselves, all three of you guys. You know what I mean? The way you communicate, the thoughts that you have, where your guys' heads are at, and that transfers down to your kids, man. So it's very obvious, right, for me, and I'm sure everybody watching, that you got three dads on this podcast with the same type of mindset. And then you look at like their kids as football players. I mean, 5-star, top of their positions, right? All being recruited by the best schools in the nation, you know, a highest top of the board for Ohio State. So it's kind of cool to sit back and see, you know, the product that comes from parents, because I know you guys all got wives too. So it's you guys and your wives that come together and that have raised young men to be where they're at today. And you guys all have the same mindset. It's really cool to sit back and watch you guys talk, because BJ's answering questions the same way that Daniel does, or the same way that Duke does. It's kind of cool. Everybody on the same mindset.
Because you don't talk to a lot of parents, you know, like on the, I have like in-depth, conversation with, other parents that are, the same caliber, same, class as your kid, and most of the time until you commit, but then to see how it all comes together. But, to now to be, talking and hearing it like right now, it is cool because it does show that, there is a formula, right? To how and why your kid is where they are. And which what will help a lot of other parents understand like where their kid is, or am I doing these things, or where they need to change or where they need to shift. So it is pretty cool to to get that out there and to hear it from other parents.
Man, I'm glad Mello. I'm sorry, Mello. I'm reading comments, man. My guy Mello's been all over it. I appreciate Mello. Devin kind of touched on something, man. I kind of want to bring up, the other side of things, man. Mom. How's mom? How does she take this? This whole process. How is it for her? Because I mean, man, this thing is night and day for us. You know what I mean? As dads, how we see things. I'll be the first one to tell you. It's my wife gets on me a little bit. She tells me that I take more things as more of, as coach than dad sometimes. And she gets on me about putting my dad hat on more, as opposed to my coaching hat. So, again, just on the other side, we don't want to leave her out. We know she's over there doing the hard work right now, making this thing happen. So BJ can shine on this little thing right here. So, I mean, we do want to shout out to the moms and, just kind of hear her perspective, on how she's doing with everything, if BJ can kind of keep rolling with that as she's doing what she's doing.
Oh, man. Of course, I tell everybody, she's a backbone. She's the backbone of a lot of this, because of some fact, man, there's sometimes where I don't want to strangle this young man, but she's like, hey, we need to talk about it. We need to pray about it. I'm like, okay. And then we come back and we sit and we talk about it again. But man, for the most part, with my wife, she's very big on certain things. And for Brilan, she just, in her mind, she feel like she know where his school is. And even when he come to her with things, she'll say, I don't think that's for you. So I don't think that's for you. And all you guys know, mom intuition is right most of the time.
Yeah.
If she tell you, hey, that little lady ain't for you, that little lady ain't for you.
Yeah.
So that's how we're taking this whole process, man. She's always said, hey, that school ain't for you. But when that doggone Ohio State offer came in and Ryan Day showed up, boy, she in love.
Wow. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, because in the same regard, like we've had Nicole on the show as well, and it's like I've talked to Dietra, I've talked to Juliet as well. Same thing. Mindset of the mamas, mindset of the dads behind these big time national players. There's a formula, there's a pattern here that it's I'm privileged to sit here in this position and get to watch it happen. It's a blessing to see it, man. I love seeing young kids, young men, women. I love seeing them in good positions, man, and succeeding in life. Behind those are good parents. I do want to do some little business real fast. Got to take care of on the channel. Mello gave us $20, man. He says, thank you, gentlemen, for doing this. This is greatly needed. Salute. Mr. Womack for doing this on such a long journey. This is by far the most important pod on YouTube. Everybody hit that like and share. Blow this thing up. Appreciate you, Mello. Bob, $10. Does Ohio State or other schools have financial advisors to help student athletes manage their nil money to help them set themselves up for life? Nothing is guaranteed past college. Great show. Thank you. Maybe one of you guys or several of you can kind of hit on that, what you know there.
You want to take that, dude?
Yes. The short answer is yes. They do have that available to them. And but also, depending on your network and your people, we lock them into, with those people as well. But I would say, going in and not having, the knowledge or the resources to reach out to, they do have those financial advisors and wealth advisors available for parents. And they will educate you on those things as well, as you should, educate yourself.
Yeah, I figured they'd have some resources for sure, trustworthy resources that you can use, man. Mello with the other $5, he said, shout out to moms. No doubt.
And also, we lean on, other former player parents. Monica Daniels, she does a great job with, sharing resources and contacts that she has and has dealt with her son Paris. So the parents do a good job of helping in that regard as well.
Yeah, Monica, another Buckeye mom, man, that kind of fits that mold of the parents that we're talking about here. It's really cool to see. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. We hit a record show tonight, man. We got 1,800 people on here right now. So
it's great. But man, one thing I do see, I'm seeing we got a clown in the chat.
Do we?
Yeah, it looks like we do. We might have. I'm seeing a few people telling some guy to get his shit together.
Bro, where's he at? Where's our mods at?
Just ignore him.
Man, if this is the first time we had something like this, man, we're not going to tolerate that. So I mean, hey, if you got any problems, you want to come on this thing and clown and just kind of have cause problems, man. We're not going to deal with that. So I mean, you can take that somewhere else, brother.
Yeah, to do that on a Friday, it says a lot about you.
He gone. He gone.
Hey man, hey, look, listen. Sometimes you have to look over negativity.
Exactly.
When you're trying to be positive. When you're trying to be positive, you're trying to be the example. You have to overlook negativity because you guys know the negative comments are gonna come. You gotta let social media be social media.
Exactly.
You gotta let people come in and do what they gonna say.
Yeah.
But
it says more about them, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna take my energy.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I have a hard time with that, man. I grew up with dogs, back in the day with my grandparents, and we believe in putting their face in it when they.
This is Rob. That's
just me. So I mean, I got low tolerance for that kind of stuff, man. But let's I want to ask one last question, man, because I heard BJ kind of bring this up on Mom, where she talked about how she fell in love with Coach Day, and I kind of want to touch on that, man, because we love him, personally. We think Coach Day is great. Man, I like to say, what I don't think a lot of people understand about Coach Day is competitive compassion. Two words. that I kind of put together when I think about Coach Day, right? I mean, he's a competitor. You know, he wants to win. I mean, look at what they just did. You know, just winning that natty, man. But he's also a father, right? He also understands, you know, what guys like ourselves are going through, because he's getting ready to go through it himself, right? And
Right.
he's getting prepared, you know, to do these things, man. So again, you know, man, I think, you know, there's really X's and O's. And on the family side, man, I don't think there's a better guy in the country right now who's getting it, right? You know, with everything, just that whole big old ball of wax of pushing our boys, understanding that this is a business, they have to perform, but still understanding that, you know, hey man, at the end of the day, you know, these boys do have lives. They are away from home. You know, they are young men who are trying to find themselves and things like that, man. So again, man, you know, kind of talk about your experiences with Coach Day, and, you know, and just how you guys feel about him, you know, just as a family.
Man, he just from day one we sat down with him. He seemed like a genuine guy. It's like he cares about his staff, he cares about his players. And I mean, most importantly, I just in my heart believe exactly what you said. I mean, he's gonna be one of those guys that's gonna be straightforward because of the simple fact he got a son that's going through it. I tell everybody, I can't never tell you something. I can't never guide you if I ain't never went through it. So with him going through this process, I think he's really gonna be a man of his word, because he gonna want somebody to be a man of their word when his son chooses school. So that's been big to us. But like I said, two things I stand on: principle. Be a man of your word. Be a man of your word is one of them. And always let God lead.
Amen.
That's me. That's me. Be a man of your word and always let God lead.
Fire stuff. Fire stuff. Dude, BJ, I mean, this has been fire, man. It's been awesome. Blessing having you on the show. We got one more super chat in here from our man B Moses, dude. He's a Buckeye supporter as well. Does a couple shows. Thanks for the $10, man. He's a brother here on Buckeye Boys. But he said the OSU is a culture of character with Ryan Day leading the charge. It's super dope to see these great parents leading excellent young men. Go Buckeyes. 100%, man. We appreciate you, BJ, coming on and you know, being able to watch your son go through the process. We're praying for his visit here, for you guys and him to have a heck of a time. And it's been awesome. But Duke, Dan, you guys want to close this thing out, man?
Yeah, man. Hey, I just wanted to thank you for jumping on, man. And you know, wish you safe travels, and you know, wish you all the best on this recruiting process, man. And you know, just pray that you know, God puts it on your heart to, you know, help you guys come to a a decision that's, you know, great for all of y'all. And I wish you the best in wherever you decide to go.
Yeah, same here, my man. You know, good luck to you guys, whatever you guys decide to do. But you know, in the back end, man, we already talked about it, man. You know, I've already expressed my desire to see, you know, a group of Southern guys in this backfield doing their thing, representing for the South.
Right.
And you know, and you know, again, man, just great people, man. You know, that's what we're looking for, you know, to come on, you know, and join this Buckeye family, man. Hope you guys, you know, enjoy yourselves in Columbus, man. And we're looking for a boom this weekend, brother. We hope we get it.
Gotcha.
Boom. Bring the
I
boom.
got you. Hey, thank you guys for having me on. Thank you guys for having me on.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Safe travels on that road, man.
We appreciate you, BJ. We'll catch you next time, man.
All right, appreciate it. You guys have a go.
Yep. Stay blessed.
Thank you.
We got one more super chat. I was going to end the whole thing there, but let's read this, man. Daniel was a tough coach, but is a great dad. I used to love seeing Devin do what he wanted to do versus what Daniel had planned. I'm guessing you know this person, Daniel.
Yeah, I know who that is. Yeah, that's my sister-in-law there, man. You know, she kind of giving away a little bit of the coaching woes that I used to have, man. You know, with my quarterback back in the day, man, who just kind of used to just do his own thing out there, man.
Dude, that's cool, man. Like I said, fellas, we appreciate everybody that watched, man, on X and on YouTube and on Instagram. Over 1,900 people in here now, so appreciate you guys. Obviously, you guys hear Duke and Daniel's heart behind what they want this show to be, man. I think that's becoming more and more clear the more that we do this. So blessing to have all you guys in here watching. Duke, Daniel, you guys got anything to say before we close this thing out?
No, just keep tuning in, man. We I have parents, that kids are in like different different stages of the recruiting process that have a lot of questions that we're going to invite on. I may even chat about this new process with my nephews, going on. 26 and 27 and it's interesting. They're at a different stage. They're not as highly recruited, but like some of the things that they're going through, and some of the things that I have to tell them, some of the hard things I have to tell them, about the process and where they are, how they're being looked. I think it'd be informative to a lot of parents that I'm going to share on some on next shows. So keep tuning in.
Amen. Another $4.99.
Duke,
Sorry.
are you going to be up next week?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good deal.
Yep. You're gonna be, of course, you're gonna be there.
Yeah, we'll be there, man. We might do something. We might do something special next week.
Hey, dude. Yeah, live from inside the Woody here on Pop's Pod. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hey.
Something special next week.
Hey, watch out for that, man. Mike Green, $4.99. Thank you, man. He said, "Hey, fellas, my son is 11 and ready to be a Buckeye already. I appreciate y'all inspiration." Hey, for sure, dude, man. It'd be a hard time. If I had a kid and he happened to be good at football and he wanted to go somewhere other than Ohio State, I mean, bless his soul. I don't know what would happen. I really don't. But anyway, appreciate y'all. Appreciate everybody in the chat, man. God is good all the time. This show is an absolute blessing every night. So appreciate everybody in the chat. But on that note, you know what it is, man. Go Buckeyes. OH.
All right.